Hello, YouTube chess fans, and welcome to episode 2 of Calculating with hbeck. I am hbeck. It is January 25th, Wednesday in the morning, and I gotta apologize because we're starting this video 14 minutes into my calculation because I forgot that if my computer goes to sleep, if I don't move my mouse in a long enough time, if I don't move my mouse for a long enough time, my computer briefly goes to sleep, and then my recording stops. So I just restarted it. I'll try to bring you back up to speed in terms of what we've looked at, and then we'll continue. So just like in last episode, I'd like you to pause the video now and try to solve the problem on your own, if you would like to. I think that should probably be the best way for you to get the biggest bang for your buck in terms of chess improvement. So without further ado, let me just recap what we've looked at. Okay, so first we identified a couple tactical structures. Our rook is on the 7th rank, cutting off his king. We have a pass pawn on g6. We have opposite color bishops. We have a pass pawn of black on c3. And we have our rook hanging, and his rook is also is opposite of our rook, so we could take. But if we don't protect our rook, he could also take. Then we looked at moves such as rook takes c5, bishop takes c5, king h6, the idea being king h7, promoting their pawn. Problem of that move was king h6, king g8, g7, threatening bishop h7 check, but bishop f8 pins our pawn and it's attacked twice, so that pawn's going to drop off the board. And with that, we would have mated material, so that can't be a solution. We next looked at g7 check, which forces king g8. After bishop h7 check, we're just giving up our bishop because after g8 queen, he takes the queen. G7 check, king g8. After rook takes c5, it just transposes to the other line. A move like rook b7 can be countered by like rook c8, for example, just to be simplest, which protects our black's back rank. Bishop c6, g7 check, king g8, bishop c6 is embarrassing. Actually, that might not be embarrassing. Bishop c6 immediately is embarrassing because of e4 check, and if he goes king h6, there's bishop e3 check, king h7, rook h5 mate. g7 check, king g8, bishop c6, e4 check, king g6 now is a possibility. Huh. Well, then there's bishop takes g7. And if rook c8 check, bishop f8. Okay. So lastly, before the video cut out, what we were calculating, what we were about to calculate was rook h7. Okay. I'm just going to keep my hand on the mouse, make sure it's moving around. You can see we're already 18 minutes into this problem. Not particularly fast. Rook f7 check is interesting too. King g8. King h6. Bishop e3 check. Pushes us away. Yeah. Rook h7 though. Let's see, my idea is to play g7 check, king g8, king g6, and then mate in with rook h8 mate, and our king on g6 is shielded from checks. Rook h7, for example, let's say rook h7, c2, G7 check. Guess he could go king F7. If king F7 there, then bishop G6 check, king G8. Oh, that's a little bit annoying. Huh. Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's go back to G7 check. King G8. Bishop C6. And now our plan is pretty simple. It's King G6 and Rook C8. G7 check, King G8. Bishop C6, and I think we already looked at this, didn't we? I said we looked at E4 check, King G6, Bishop takes G7. So we get Rook and Bishop versus Rook in these 3 pawns, but is the king in trouble? So one of the main problems is we don't have control over the G8 square. That's our main problem. G7 check, King G8, Rook takes C5. King G6. And now his bishop is at least, I guess it can immediately go to F8. It's so annoying. It's not that, it is pretty close. It's banking on it being far away. Rook H7. C2. We didn't work through that yet. G7 check. He has to go King F7. Bishop G6. Check. King king g8. Another idea is to try to back rank him. Maybe not promote the pawn. King. Oh, all right. Let's see. Let's see. Quickest move for tempo would be to check him. Rook f7 check. Actually, he could even still go king e8 there. It's like super annoying. Super, super, super annoying. All right, so what do I actually think the move is intuitively? What do I think the first move of the combination should be? What makes sense from a tempo perspective? If g7 pushes our pawn one move closer with check. King h6, also like very forcing. Rook takes c5, very forcing. Rook h7 is the interesting move. I feel like it has to be one of those moves. One of those moves. g7 check, king g8, bishop c6, e4 check, king g6, bishop takes g7. Did we dismiss this? Rook takes g7 check. Oh, I think I might have it. Rook takes g7 check. King h8, for example, and then rook e7 with mate on the back rank. Oh, this probably is it. But let's be thorough now. Let's try to be precise, like, because there's still like once that e pawn moves forward, he can maybe like do kamikaze check on g5, rook g5 check, and then c1 queen equals check, and yeah, I mean it probably doesn't work, but let's make sure this is the way to go here. G7 check, king g8, bishop c6. And now if he doesn't play e4, if he plays c2, let's say, you play king g6, and we're threatening mate, and there are no checks. That looks good. Now, it's important to play g7 check first rather than bishop c6 because we want to put our king on g6. So g7 check, king g8, bishop c6. What about king h7 there? That actually slightly annoying again. g7 check, king g8. g7 check, king g8, bishop c6. If he plays c2, then I have king g6, maiden. If he plays e4 check, king g6, bishop takes g7, rook takes g7 check, king h8, rook e7, or king f8, rook f7 check, king g8, rook e7, both lead to mate, unless he can play rook g5 check, giving up the rook to try to promote the pawn. Let's see if that works. g7 check, king g8, bishop c6, e4 check, king g6, bishop takes g7, rook takes g7 check, king f8, rook f7 check, king g8, and now let's deliver mate from c8, rook c7, because that case there are no tricks with c2. So rook g5 check, king g5, c2. You just move the bishop away. The rook covers the c file. Yeah. So e4 loses, c2 loses. g7 check, king g8, bishop c6. Like, it looks like the only reasonable move then becomes king h7. And that could be just annoying again. All right, I am really struggling here now. I'm really struggling. G7 doesn't seem to work now, and Rook takes C5 didn't work. Bishop C6. After E4 check, it doesn't seem to work unless you bring your king back, and that doesn't seem like you're making progress at all. So what is left here? There's Rook F7 check, and there's also Rook H7. Rook H7, King G8. G7. And now we're threatening King G6. All right. Rook H7. What about C2? G7 check. Oh, I kept on forgetting King F7. That was like super. It was like the worst. It's like the worst, man. It is the worst. All right. Okay. Rook H7, King G8. G7. C2. All right, hold on a second. That's a different variation. Rook H7. What I meant to say was Rook H7, C2. G7 check. King G8 loses to King G6, so King F7. And then my idea now is Bishop G6 check, King G8. That's a bad idea, though. I'm trying to... Trying to check him on this diagonal somehow. Bishop F5. E takes F5. Now King G6 doesn't work because of Rook C6 check. This is a really difficult problem. This is about as tough as they come. Rook F7 check, King G8. No. All right. It seems like our main motif is G7 check, King G8, King G6, rather than back rank mate. The problem is our rook is under attack on C7. Bishop C6 doesn't work because it releases the pawn with discovery. Swinging the rook to the other side of the pawn doesn't work because Rook H7 check, Rook H7, C2, G7 check. He has a square, King F7. He's not forced to King G8. if we move the rook, let's say all right, now we're getting creative. All the direct things didn't work, so we're getting creative now. Rook b7. Rook b7. Rook b7, c2. g7 check. King g8. Ah. This is embarrassing that I can't solve this problem. It looks this little material shouldn't be that difficult. You just have to consider the right move. Rook, I'm sure I've considered it by now. Maybe I'm not so sure. Rook b7. c2. g7 check. King g8. King g6. Rook c8. Aha. Therein lies the rub. But then we have no, we don't have this bishop e3 check is still super annoying. Super annoying. King h6. Let's try starting with king h6. Rook takes c5. Rook takes c7 is the problem. That was short-lived. That was very short-lived. Okay. Well, do I want to keep on beating my head against the wall? Or do I want to think in practical terms, what is the most likely first move? What definitely is not the move? What definitely is not the move is rook takes c5, bishop takes c5, king h6, king g8, g7, bishop f8. That is definitely not the move. So rook takes c5 is out. Bishop c6. Bishop c6, however, e4 check. King c6, or king h6, I mean. And there's bishop g7 check even. It's like so weird. Rook takes g7, rook h5 check, king takes h5, king takes g7, and oh wait a minute, am I winning that? Is that winning? I guess that's sort of winning. Bishop c6, e4 check, king h6. Bishop e3 check, though. And then there's that mate. There's that crazy mate. Bishop c6 is out. King h6, rook takes c7, out. So, yeah, the only moves it could possibly be, I feel like, rook b7, let's say call move like rook b7, and then there's c2. Yeah, I don't think that can be it either. Only moves it could be, I was going to say, is rook f7, check, rook h7, and g7. Rook f7 puts the king on g8. Now the pawn is like tied down to protection of the rook. The rook can't back rank on f8. Just see, no, there's only. We still can't bring our king to h6 without being checked away. Yeah, rook f7 seems very unlikely. Rook h7. Could be. Could be. I mean, g7 too. Could be. Rook h7. c2. It's like calling my bluff. Am I actually threatening anything? Am I actually threatening anything? g7 check. King f7. Bishop g6 check. King g8. g7 check might be it then. Only thing I can realistically try. See what I did there? Just being practical. Like, push your passed pawn in with check in a problem, tactical problem. That is like a chess tempo rule almost. Oh boy, if you can get to the 7th rank, you know, that's just the way you do it. All right, maybe one move closer to the solution, I'll be able to see it more clearly. Let's see. Candidate moves from here. Rook b7, bishop h7 check, king g6, king h6, rook takes c5. King h6, bishop e3 check, king g6, rook takes c7, fails. King g6, rook takes c7, fails. Alright, it's not a king move. Oh boy, we're really getting primitive now. Bishop c6. Bishop h7 check, king takes h7. No follow-up. G8 check is nothing. So bishop c6 is the only bishop move we can consider. e4 check. King g6. Bishop takes g7 check. Or not check, but bishop takes g7. Rook takes g7 check. Actually, in this line, the pawn's on c3. I think we looked at a line with the pawn on c2 of similar structure, but here the pawn's on c3. So we might be just mated on the back rank. We might just be mated on the back rank. That could potentially be good. But if we move the bishop away, bishop c6, he has king h7. With annoyance. Great annoyance. And then if we waste a tempo, like that's the line we looked at, wasting a tempo, rook d7, rook b7, c2. Now the pawn's on c2 in that same line. Rook takes c5, bishop takes c5. So is it a bishop move? Bishop c6, king h7. Can we definitively rule that out, other than the repetition? Is there anything? What about giving up the pawn? Like, this is getting really creative now. Rook c8? Nah. Rook c8, king takes g7. No, I don't see anything like this working. I don't see it working. Alright, is it a rook move? One problem with the rook moves is that they're kind of all the same. Rook e7, rook d7, rook b7, even rook a7, they're all kind of the same. And that doesn't bode well for one of them being the solution. King h6, there's check. That doesn't work. Alright, maybe it's just a rook move then. But which one? Rook d7. Let's try rook e7 first, maybe? I don't know. Rook e7? Hard to see a logic behind them. Behind choosing which one. Rook e7? None of these rook moves are I'm happy about. Alright, bishop c6, king h7, there's g8 check, king takes g8, king g6. And then we're maiden unless he does rook takes c6. Rook takes c6. King f8. I don't think we're maiden anymore. Man, this problem is a bitch. Oh, sorry, I don't know if I can say that word on YouTube. I guess I probably can. We'll find out. Alright, this is getting exhausting. 53 minutes. I mean, I don't know if I ever spend this long on a problem. I think I've occasionally spent an hour, but that's like very rare. Very rare indeed. King moves don't seem to work. Like rook moves, no logic. No logic. Should we continue to be practical? Bishop c6. What about the direct e4 check? King g6. I mean, like we'll still have to win rook versus bishop, and that's like technically a draw in most cases, I think. So like, what's going even on here? Oh my gosh, this is torture. Uh, Bishop c6. Should we continue to be practical? Is that being practical? Because like rook d7. Yeah, after even just rook c8, like really simply, I don't see the sting. Bishop c6. Couple problems. Couple problems. Rook takes c6 might even be considered the problem because rook takes c6, e4. That might even be considered the problem. What about rook f7? Is there an idea there? King takes. There's no idea there. Oh man. This is what happens when you spend too much time on one problem. You kind of lose your like mind. What to do here? Bishop d5. Rook takes, bishop takes, king takes, nothing. You know, when I see it, if I do see it, it's going to be like a light bulb. And then I'm going to feel really stupid. Or if I get it wrong, I'll just look at the solution and I'll either be super upset because it's like too computerish, or I'll be like really upset because it's too simple. That's my lot in life. What does that expression mean anyway? One's lot in life. Where do they come from? It's like a gambling term. Maybe. Bishop c6. Rook takes. Rook takes. King takes. Nah, this whole thing looks stupid. Rook takes c5, bishop takes I mean, rook takes c5, bishop takes c5, king h6, bishop e3 check, king g6. I think I have it. I think I have it actually. Rook takes c5, bishop takes c5, king h6. Well, no, there's bishop f8. You can't do king. Can't do that. Then you can't do king g6 because still bishop f8. I mean, this problem is just so ridiculous. Can't believe he has bishop f8. It's like, ugh. Makes me so angry. All right, rook d7. There is c2, king g6. No, king h6. No, well, there'd be c1 queen, so you can't do that. King g6, and then rook c8. And then you take on c2. And he plays e4, and he takes on g7, giving up his bishop, and defends rook versus rook and bishop. Oh, wait, what? That's not drawn, is it? Oh, no, that's more drawn than rook versus sole bishop. So you want to trade rook? You want to trade? I don't know. I'm tired. This is probably wrong. Bishop c6, rook takes, rook takes, king takes, rook takes e6. No, like, I know it's wrong. I freaking know. I know it's wrong. Bishop and 2 pawns for rook. I know. I'm not made of them. I know that's wrong. I know that's wrong. I know the king moves are wrong. I know, like, it's only one other piece on the board. It's a rook. Where can I even move it? The rook capture is wrong. This is the same. That's the same. They're all like. How did I choose between these 4 moves? Rook d7. Rook d5. Bishop takes, pawn takes, king g6. Wins. That's not a way to explain why rook d7 is different than other ones. Rook d7, c2. King g6, rook c8. Hmm. Yeah, I feel like it has to be, I feel like it has to be a rook move. I feel like it has to be a rook move. Where? On the 7th, but like, where? Bishop c6, the only problem with it, I mean, this might be a problem. But, just the rook takes c6. Rook takes c6. King takes g7. Rook takes e6. It's not gonna work. Not like that. Rook d7, rook c8. I'm just like spinning my wheels right now. Rook d7, rook c8, rook takes d4. The crude idea of king h6 bishop. It's rook d7, rook c8. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. Rook d7, c2, king g6, rook c8. Rook e7, rook c2. King g6, rook c8. I'm totally lost here. I mean, not lost in terms of the chess, but like lost, like mentally just lost. All right, what even could be it? There are only three things I can move. King move. Let's try not to assume things have to be a certain way. King h6, bishop e3 check, king g6, rook takes c7. I have to stop there. That loses for white. King g6, rook takes c7. Again, that loses for white. King g5, rook takes c7, loses. All these things lose. All the king moves lose. Bishop d3, rook takes c7, loses. c2, loses. b1, loses. f3, loses. g2, loses. h1, loses. d5, rook takes c7, still loses. Bishop b7, same thing. a8, same thing. f5. Bishop f5, rook takes c7, still loses. g6, same thing. h7 check, king takes. Nothing. Nothing there. Bishop c6, then, is the only bishop move it could be. It's bishop c6 or it's a rook move. Rook c6, rook takes c6, bishop takes c6, king takes g7. Can't be it. Rook c8, rook takes c8 check. Can't be it. Rook takes c5, bishop takes c5. King h6, bishop f8. Am I, like, being stupid here? No, I'm not. King g6, bishop f8. Same dealio. It's not rook takes c5. It's a horizontal rook move, or it's bishop c6. There's no other way around this. What's the point here? Like, are you really gonna win? I mean, like, you could win both these pawns, but then you'd have rook versus bishop and pawn. Are you really gonna win the bishop or the pawn? They're both on dark squares. This could be frustrating in the sense that the solution position could be a position where the computer says it's winning, but in practical terms, if you have two humans playing it, like, you're not expected to win with white as a human. That could be the frustrating part. These problems are rarely incorrect, but sometimes they can be frustrating in that manner. Rook e7, c2. King g6. Rook c8. Rook takes e6. c1 queen. Rook e8 check. Rook takes. Bishop d5 check. Rook e6. Bishop takes e6 checkmate. Alright, it's either rook e7 or it's bishop c6. Oh boy. Stumbled into that one. Rook e7. Make that move number one. Rook e7. c2. King g6. Threatens mate. Rook c8. Rook takes e6. Now I'm threatening bishop d5, followed by rook e8. So rook e7, c2, king g6, rook c8, rook takes e6, c1 queen, rook e8 check, takes, check, game over. All right, this must be it. Wow. Oh, my head hurts, but at least I'm pretty sure I got it now. Oh man, wow. Holy cow. King g6. Threatens mate. King g6, threatens mate. Only one way to stop. Rook c8. Then rook takes e6. There's no good way to defend against rook. Actually, either order. Well, I guess the order is rook e8 check, rook takes bishop d5. That is just crushing. Rook takes e6. Wow. Wow, indeed. Rook e8 check, rook takes e8. Now it's simple. I was so positive that I'm mating with my rook on the back rank that I was totally blind to the possibility of mating with your bishop. You have to be flexible in these problems, and I was not flexible. I was so dogmatic in my insistence on trying to make the rook back rank mate work. It's the bishop all along. All right, is this website frozen now? Is it not going to give me credit for this problem? Oh, come on. Come on. Pop in. Oh, man. Oh, there we go, finally. Oh, wow, I got 12 points out of that problem. Nice. At least it was worth it. I broke 2350 for the first time. Look at that. This problem, yeah, this was a tough one. Not surprised by that rating. Maybe I thought it was a 2400 problem. I don't know. Let's see. So the recap. Yeah, I mean, it was easy to see g7 check. Mainly out of elimination. But yeah, like all these ideas with king g6 and then rook to the back rank, it doesn't work because bishop c6 can be countered by this capture. Looks like there was an alternate here. Rook d7. Yeah, I mean going for the same thing. g7, rook c8, g6. Actually, this is not the same. This is not as good because now I don't take on e6. It was the threat rook takes d4. Yeah, this one's hard to understand. Yeah, and still the main point of this problem. The main point of this problem is recognizing that when the king is on g8, this g8 to a2 diagonal is the weak. This is the weak tactile structure that is crucial to the problem. And if you remember, I started the problem by listing all the tactical structures, and yet I didn't identify this tactical structure. That that's what made all the calculation after that so difficult, because I was working, my toolbox was incomplete. I was missing the crucial tool I needed. Was this light square diagonal is the weak part, and that's, I mean, that's, you could see, sort of say that's an extension of having the opposite color bishops, but yeah, I needed to identify this specific thing, really. Yeah, and here you can see bishop c6 loses, actually. But black is better. Just, it's exactly what I calculated, and I said, like, this can't be the solution, and it's not. Yeah, and then everything's forced after this. Mate in 6. This is a pretty problem. This is a really pretty problem. Well, I hope you enjoyed this edition of Calculating with hbeck. I know this one was a doozy. This is taken from a game, Shneshnikov versus Stochek. This is probably Polish, or maybe it could be, it's probably Polish. Could be, it's definitely Eastern European. I'm actually curious to see if this combination was played in the game itself. So he played g7. He didn't find rook e7. He found the alternate, rook d7. How? Wow, he found the see, rook d7 to me is less intuitive than rook e7. Yeah, he tried to play bishop, and he couldn't find a way to avoid this bishop e3 check. I guess his black probably might be okay still. Bishop c5 is wrong because now he can't push c2, and the bishop immediately goes to this diagonal. Now he probably is lost. Huh. Could he have played c2 here? No, you can't, because he take it, and then the bishop goes to that diagonal. I guess black is helpless. That's actually really interesting. Black is helpless. White can move the bishop to that diagonal as slow as he wishes. I mean, I did it the fastest way, and the fastest way results in mate. But he still wins, basically no matter what here. Once you set up king g6 and the rook on d or e7. Yeah, this is why the rook should be on e7, not d7. But he can still deflect it. Oh, this was a pretty end into this game. If rook takes d8, bishop takes e6 is checkmate. The rook is hanging, he can't protect it. Nothing to do. Wow, nice going, I don't know how to say it. Evgeny Sveshnikov. Game from 2000, so this was already later in his career. All right. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any feedback, please leave a comment on the YouTube video, and I would love to improve the format of the show to increase the enjoyment of the listener and the educational value as well. So if you have any ideas, please share them. All right. Take care. This is hbeck signing off.